Welcome to Finding the Voices. I am Monica Ingutam.
Welcome to Finding the Voices. Right now we are in Bangalore and we have a very special guest, a very young entrepreneur, Manoranjan Ingutam, who initially started out his career with the private sector, and he has started his own company, and today he's going to share his journey on how he started and how he got inspired to build his own company. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
To start with, in your own words, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town, Imphal, and from there I went to Delhi. Delhi I went for my class 11 and 12. So there it was a huge cultural shock for a small town boy. And I had made a lot of friends and saw a lot of opportunities and how big cities operate. Then after that, I came down to Bangalore for my technical studies in computer science. So after that, it's a kind of a similar pattern which most people grow from. After engineering, you join a private sector like Infosys. There again, I learned a lot of things about how to make a product. Fortunately for me, I was not in the service sector of Infosys. Infosys has this product called Finacle, which is a banking product. So I was exposed to how product development, how requirements were gathered, how companies, clients like ICICI, used to gather their requirements, give it to us, things like that. So I was in Infosys for close to, I think, 7 years. After that, I shifted to another company, one of the telecom giant from China, Huawei Technologies. There we, again, I was working with a team of extremely talented guys to kind of come up with analytics solutions over a huge lot of telecom data. So that is where I met my co-founders that we for this company. So during this journey, I was always continuously looking for an opportunity where using the knowledge that I have gained as a technical person, as a person who has developed quite a lot of products, how do I come up with a product which can fit into the kind of problems that India has, and how do we solve with the knowledge that we have. So I was looking for an opportunity. So me and a couple of my team members, we used to do a lot of weekend projects. So this is not the first project we have done. We have done before this some 2-3 projects wherein we played around with different concepts. So when we actually, how did we start VBookie? What happened was, one of the problem we saw was especially in beauty and services sector. In India, it was still largely unorganized, around probably more than 70 to 75% still doesn't use any form of
Booking.
Of software.
It's more a walk-in
Yeah.
concept.
It's a walk-in. They have a paper and pen, and they note it out. And yeah, they do use the they have a swiping machine for accepting credit cards, things like that. They have. They also have some of them have a computer, but they still don't have an software to operate it. So even if there are people, when I say 75, the remaining guys, 20 to 25, they have some sort of a software, but it is still not very well integrated. When I say integrated, it doesn't have the, they have a walk-in customer and they have a software for managing that, but they, on the other hand, they also have a lot of requirements for their marketings. They do Facebook marketing, they do email marketing, they call up their customers for their offers, they do offline campaigns like posters. So all these things are done in a not very integrated kind of an environment.
It was not automated.
It was
fully.
not automated, and they have to look at different kind of medium to do all these processes. So yeah, so when we saw that opportunity, when we started off with the simple idea of how do we solve this problem where the consumer, we look at from the consumer side, and then on the other hand is the people who are providing these services, the service owners, the outlet owners. So from the consumer, the problem is, how do I discover the beauty services that are around me? Okay, that is one of the basic, you can say, problem.
Like a directory.
Yeah, like a directory. So when we asked that question today, or maybe when we started off somewhere in the ideation started in 2013. Somewhere in December we started the ideation. So at that time, so we simply try to answer the questions with the various kind of, when we search in Google, what is the kind of search results. So there is a directory for the kind of outlets. So, you still can discover who are the outlets if they are listed, so long they are listed in something like Just Dial, or there is something called Ask Laila, and it's got quite a number of directory services. So long they are listed, they are discoverable. But the problem is, okay, this outlet is somewhere nearby, but what is the service they provide? So there is not a single
Portal
website or something wherein I can try to find out where can I get a nice haircut with a little bit of styling from nearby this area. So when we go one more step further, beyond the discovery, just the listing, that information itself was not available. So
it was more like the availability was only the address or the name of the salon, probably.
Exactly. So only the phone number and the address, and that's it. And the remaining of the cases where a consumer needs to do is, he needs to now kind of know that these are the kind of outlets, then he or she needs to kind of call up his or her friends, try to figure out which among them is good. So he needs to call up, ask for, how was it, things like that. As long as, he or she has got friends around that location. But for a person who is coming newly, he doesn't have absolutely, he has no clue other than to just go and walk. So that was one from the consumer side. Having said that, there is a lot of contents that are required to be built. So when we say so what are the key contents that we are looking at? We are looking at the contents of, say, because a lot of people are still price sensitive, right? So when I want to go for a haircut, I want to know what is the price, beforehand. Maybe some variance is there, but, I still want to get an idea, because a lot of consumers are still price sensitive, right? So price is one very important content. Then also what we saw is a lot of services are provided by the outlets, but the information of what kind of services are those is not very well, even if they have a website, or if the consumer doesn't know what is that. Say, for example, in a kind of a spa kind of a services, there are, say, if you look at different kind of massages, so you have Swedish massage, you have Thai massage. So what is the difference between the two?
So the description and
maybe a video or something like that. So that will help a person who is who is just about just want to explore, who hasn't used haven't used this kind of services. What is that which will suit me? So that kind of information is lacking. So we needed to build content around that. So explainer kind of information kind of a content. Then there is also a lot of content which are we still have a lot of reviews which are in different kind of mediums. So when we say, if you go to say salon or spa, they will have a booklet wherein they will take your feedback, right? So that information is not useful at all, because other consumers cannot see those information. I mean, a person cannot just to see the information has to walk in and read the information, and then he cannot even go out telling that your reviews are bad, right? So you need a medium through which you can see those kind of capture those kind of reviews on a platform and make it much more transparent. So a lot of user contributed, whether it's reviews or question and answers. So that kind of requirement is there for the consumer side. Okay, so that was one which we realized, from a consumer side. So when
so
we
you did all this requirement gathering and before you built your product?
We didn't go in depth about the content. We were, but we were particular about price. We want to bring in the price on our platform. And then we want to have a very good way of locating the outlet, and the kind of booking that can be done for an appointment. We wanted to streamline it so that person doesn't have to call up, because the calling up process is kind of strenuous. Sometimes the outlet personnel has changed and doesn't know who is the loyal customers. And even if he's a loyal customer, the staff is not available, or the staff is not in a very good mood. So the user experience is not very consistent. So we wanted to make it, the booking process to be streamlined. So that was one which we thought was the bare minimum, and we started with vbookie.com, which is essentially a marketplace. Okay, it's a marketplace for consumers. So it's a lot. The focus is a lot on the consumers. So that's how we started. When we started, it took us quite some time to convince. We ourselves went to the outlets to meet each of the owner. It took us time. When we started off as a beta somewhere in August in 2014, we just had 15 outlets.
You started with 15 salon or spa outlets.
Salons and spas, which we personally went and met. So we had to go with a laptop and explain, what is this. So a lot of questions we faced, and that is an important, interaction, and we learned a lot of things. So after that, now we are all over India. We are close to 3,000. So 15 to 3,000 is quite a lot of, relations that we have built, network that we have over this period of time.
1 year.
In the last year, almost 1
1
year.
year. So, which you mentioned all over India. So, is it available in all the cities or only particular location?
We are we have mostly focused in Bangalore. Bangalore has the maximum listing. We also have it in Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad.
So you're expanding.
Yeah, so we have this, and then there are in other small cities like say Guwahati, then Raipur, and all these places. We have kind of added them, and they are listed, but it's still not discoverable from the application per se. But if a person goes through Google and then they type, then they can find about this this outlets. But from our application, we have not.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is one thing as far as the consumer is concerned, and then back to the story of the outlet I told about. A lot of people doesn't have software, so we wanted to solve. I mean, if you look at when we did a study, we saw a lot of already existing products which is trying to solve this problem, and they have quite a lot of guys. They have solved it in a way which most of the traditional way of solving it. It's a computer desktop kind of a solutions. But we look at it a little differently. We look at it in a way wherein we can try to tap the ever growing. A lot of if you look at how India market is growing, the internet penetration of India is not because of desktop, but it is because of mobile phones. India is I think number two, almost number two. I'm not sure, because of the number of mobile phones that are connected to internet.
Right, and like with everybody, almost everyone having a smartphone.
Right.
That seemed to be the mode for any transaction or search or anything.
Right. So a lot of people are using mobile phones and using internet-enabled services, apps. So we wanted to solve in a way which is connected to that. So what we have done is we have made a solution which is based on mobile, not on desktop, and a web. So web can be potentially, it can be from a desktop, or it can be
can be from any
device which has a browser. So this is the model which we have built our solutions. So from the outlet, you can what we are saying is you can operate your outlet from a mobile. You don't have to have a desktop. So there are various use cases around this. So if you look at it, so let us take a simple outlet. A simple outlet, what will happen is they will have a store, they will have a set of employees, and people walk in. So at that time, they will either, if they don't have a software, they will just write it down and do the tallying every end of the day. How much is the business, how many people came, things like that. That's quite, for every day to repeat that, it's quite a lot of, work. So what we are saying is, for that kind of a use case, you can still use your small, Android mobile, wherein every time, or iPhone.
So your app is compatible to both.
As of now, since we are very focused on India, and India is mostly an Android kind of market, we are, first product is still Android, but we have an iPhone app as well, which we will not be releasing.
Okay, as of now.
As of now.
It's in the pipeline.
Yeah, we still want to stabilize the Android, and so that is how we are planning to solve as far as the walk-in customer. Then there are use cases like you have an outlet who wants to probably go for an event. Okay, so say for example, there one outlet is going for an event in maybe a mall, and they want to. So they are having some sort of say as there are promos. They are just wanting to have a haircut, free haircut, or whatever is their promo. Now, it becomes so easy. You just have to have the mobile phone, and then you don't have to carry
So the
it.
infrastructure is quite easy because it's already, the person already has the device. All you have to do is download the app and you are connected.
Right.
Once you, of course, subscribe to vBookie.
Yeah, they have to do the basic setup in our server, which is where, you know, we come in and we help setting up. So once they have set up, so that is one aspect of it. So that is one as far as the consumer is, as far as the, you know, business
Service
owners,
provider.
is concerned. And also one thing is, another value proposition we bring in is, a lot of people, most of the guys have website. A lot of these guys have website, but they are just having a website because, you know, it builds maybe, you know, their image online. But no business transactions happens on their website.
It's just for the presence.
It's just a presence. So what is our value proposition is, now you can transform your website into a place where business transaction can happen. So people can come there, they can see the services, they can book, they can, you know, you have a gifting, you have a membership, you want to sell it online, you can sell it, you know, things like that. So our value proposition is, even with your online presence, in terms of your website, in terms of your, you know, walk-in customers, in terms of your, say, marketplace from vbookie.com, where you connect directly to the consumers. So these are the three areas wherein we are, you know, that's where our value is. So one is in terms of enabling the business, which is the marketplace, vbookie.com. Another is in terms of as a platform, as a partner. We are, you know, you want a app which can help you in, you know, streamlining your processes. That is where. Then in terms of enabling your website so that you can do business transactions on your website, can be done easily.
Okay.
So these are, you know, the three areas
of the
that we are focusing on. We have a little more on the line, but yeah, this is what we are focusing on.
Okay. So from the consumer perspective, do they have their own login?
Yes.
If they want to try out different salon, like it's the same login, but it'll have a history of different salon.
Exactly.
Okay, so they don't have to sign up, you know, every time if they want to take the service of a different place.
No, they don't have to sign up, and they will also have, you know, a history. And what we also, as part of our promotions, we give certain credit points which they can use. And yeah, for specifically for people who are signed up and have used, we also have quite a number of deals that comes in. So that becomes automatically available. So,
Okay, so
so they are informed about it.
from the consumer's perspective, using vbookie.com, they get to know about the different salon, about the different discount or promos for that, offers for that particular period, and they can avail to it.
Yeah, right.
And from the service provider, without setting up any extra infrastructure, they can use their already existing mobile, smartphone device, and just use vBookie app and connect it and run their business.
Exactly. And even for the business owner, and business owner can just see, you know, how it is their operations, daily, monthly, what is the kind of business
So there are
they have
different
done.
kind of reports and
exactly.
a lot of other features at the back end.
Right.
How is it going? It's been like in the market for a year, right?
We are actually in the market for, so if you look at it, 2014 has been spent mostly for acquisition of outlets. We have not done much marketing, you know, promos or you know, trying to reach out consumers. So and that is primarily because we have not kind of reached the critical mass to be of interesting website for the consumers. Because we, you know, it's also like a chicken and egg story, wherein if we don't have too many outlets, then the consumers will not have too many choice, and they will not be interested.
So you
And also the consumer for the outlet, if they don't find too many users coming in, then they find it, why should we be listed on this kind of platform? So, but in the end, we have built a critical mass of outlets with their services, and we started promos and some reach out from somewhere in February. We started spending money trying to promote
in marketing, in the marketing department.
Yeah, so that's what we did in somewhere in February, and now it's growing. It's growing, and it has also given us a lot of confidence now because that is growing.
Yeah, because initially you started with the requirements, development, and now the product is ready and it is stable.
Right.
So now you're focusing more on reaching out, outreaching and marketing and letting people adopt both from the consumer as well as the service provider.
Exactly. So now even from, so we, like I said, we started with vbookie.com. So we are now starting to pitch in more and more into the areas wherein we want the outlet and business owners to adopt our app, and then the websites to be integrated with us. So that's what we are doing now.
So can you share some of the initial feedback of people who have adopted both from the service provider as well as the consumer?
We have had a fair level of challenges, but in the end, the feedback, like say for example, some of the validations that we would like to take is one of the very well-known. I would not would like to take the name, but who has around 120 outlets all over India.
It's a chain.
It's a big chain. It's a very well-known chain. Without us approaching them, they came to us.
So
and
they
said,
got to know about the whole product.
Yeah, whole product, and they came to us and said that we want to be listed. We want to promote our brand in your platform. So that became a huge validation.
And that is very encouraging for a startup company.
Right. And then another validation also came in, wherein a very big chain, which is around, I think all over India, there's around 350 outlets. We have kind of tied up with Bangalore. So we had close to around 50 kind of outlets on our platform. And we have given consistently some, bookings for their branches. So two things happen. One is they want to list all their outlets all over India on our platform. So that become a huge validation. Secondly, they also have said that, they have some few outlets for which the booking is not happen, they walk in and business is not good, so they want to partner with us
to improve that
sales. Improve the sales.
So they have that faith and trust that your platform is going to help. Yeah,
so they have over a period of time. So this has grown. So we started. I think our relations started somewhere in November end or December, and this request came somewhere in May. So I mean, there is a phase, for it to take time.
Right.
But then, it gives in a lot of validation of the value that we have brought to this big chains. So that is one as far as the outlet is concerned. For the consumer, as a part of our process, we always also call back to the consumer to confirm or maybe just to take some feedback about it.
Okay.
So most of the people have kind of liked it, and
they have given positive.
Most of the people have given positive. But there are some challenges in the model that we adopt. Firstly, because if we look at the model is we are a platform. We do not provide the actual services.
Yeah, the services provided by the provider who is listed in your company.
Yeah, exactly. So the service quality is not something which we can control. So sometimes, that becomes a little, while we want to increase the user experience, the user experience in a way includes not just the booking, but also the services, the quality of the services. Yeah, so there is a little bit of a challenge to kind of segregate the two in the minds of the consumers. But then, yeah, we have to, over a period of time, we hope to achieve that.
Yeah, and then obviously, I guess you'll have ratings wherein actually you would less specific salons and spa which are maintaining that quality.
Exactly. So we would like to build in some mechanism wherein we become like we can be able to assess certain quality of an outlet.
That's very interesting.
But that will require us as a company to evolve ourselves a lot more.
Right.
Right. In terms of we are not just going to be just a technology and a product company which provides a platform and a marketplace, but we are also going to be in that thing wherein we are going to be like a standardization kind of a company, which requires a much more maturity in terms of understanding this industry much more in depth. So but in the back. Yeah, in the long run, we would like to go there.
So can you share a little bit about your team?
We have got a very exciting team. We have Subhadeep, who is an excellent developer, programmer, out-of-box thinker. And then we have Basant, who is again an excellent server programmer, asked very, very tough questions, very straightforward kind of questions, which sometimes, we would not have thought of. So
from the technical perspective,
not only technical, but from the impact when we do a service, when we provide a new feature, then what will be the impact, things like that. So in terms of our team, this is the founding team that we have. So we have a very strong, I would say a very strong technology and product experience. And then we hired way back in August, we hired additional staff which can help us in reaching out more and more people, reaching out, especially the outlet tie-ups.
Okay.
So we hired some more people, staff, and because of them, we are able to reach around 3,000 outlets. So we have, I would say, a very passionate team who is very strong in the belief that, we will be able to change the landscape of the way in which the beauty services are provided, services are consumed. So this, not just in India, but also around the world.
So initially you started in Bangalore, then you expanded all over within India, and now you do have in the pipeline thinking of expanding it around the world.
Yeah, we would like, with the set of products that we already have, solutions that we already have, we would now probably in some time would be going into some other, maybe some 2 to 3 locations outside of India.
So that is an amazing growth considering that the product has evolved in a little over 1 year.
Right. Yeah, I mean, such is the pace of technology now. Yeah, I mean, some time back, the whole concept of messaging was in terms of SMS. Now you have, I don't know, I mean, a lot of people are using WhatsApp, and WhatsApp was started only a few years back. And so that's the pace of technology.
Right. So coming from a small town like Imphal, where generally we have the mindset of, of being employed by somebody, what was your challenge in, like moving from working for somebody and starting your own?
I have, in a way, always kind of looked for an opportunity wherein I would be able to, using the knowledge that I have, be able to impact more and more people. So that has always been, in the back of my mind. So But then, as with most of the startup founders, I would say, especially for people who have not come from a business background, trying to convince people that we can start up and impact a lot of people with a very limited set of resources and money that one has is always a challenge. It is not just true for me, just because I'm from a small town, but for most of even for the established people, most of the founders, for most of the thing, because especially for a person who has an established career behind him. So to leave the comfort of getting a paycheck at the end of each month, which is quite which will take care of your lifestyle, which will take care of various comfort, it is always the momentum is always set. So it's difficult to change the from there. So that was always there. And then of course you would have as part of your family and a lot of things, you would have a set of commitments which financial commitments which you would have to factor in when you take a decision. So these are the few things that that is there, but with the support of all the family members and things, I have been able to take these decisions. But it's
still an early journey. It seemed to be like from what you are sharing about the growth, it's going in the right direction and very positive.
Yeah, I am very upbeat about it. We are passionate about it, so our judgment can be clouded. But we love what we are doing, and we are hopeful that we'll impact a lot of people with the services. We have already, every day we are touching more than 500 people. That's still a lot of people that we are reaching out. We would like to grow to 1 million, then maybe 5 million. So that is why our milestones and rates.
So with your company growing, with every day, and you are requiring more staff to support the growth, just for our viewer, just wanted you to share what kind of skills that you look for people who, when you're recruiting for your team.
Yeah, so startup recruiting is it's a little different, I would say, because what we look for is, of course, the person needs to have the right skill set for the kind of profile that we have. So whether it's a marketing, then we require marketing, surrounding marketing skill set, digital marketing skill sets, things like that. Or if it is a business development, then is whether it's outgoing, whether it's communication skills are proper, if it's customer care. So these are this will be kind of a standard skill sets people will use, irrespective of whether it's a startup or industry. But what we also look for is a person who is whose mindset is a lot more ownership driven, because we do not firstly have the resource to track what is one doing in a very detailed way, and also we feel that it's not how the company can grow from say 1x to 5x or 5x to 10x. It can probably, if we go through a very tracking kind of mode, maybe it will grow from 1 to 1.25x. But to grow from 1 to 5, it needs a lot of ownership. It needs a person to take risks, to be innovative, to think with this, say, 1,000 rupees, how do I grow? So a lot more interest in growing. So it requires a lot of ownership, thinking that, okay, how do we grow this? Instead of just thinking, how do I execute this task? So when we say about tracking, it's about task. Here we are talking about, okay, how do we grow from this to this? So it is not just task, it's about a responsibility given, and then derive whatever is the task required to achieve that goal. So yeah, a lot of ownerships and people who can take risk. So yeah, that is the kind of additional things that we look for.
Not somebody like wherein you say that, okay, do this and you're confined only to that task. You're looking for somebody who can grow beyond what you ask for and work thinking that it's your own company and grow together as a company.
Exactly. So there are two reasons for that. One is we ourselves will be a lot in exploratory mode.
So it's very dynamic and changing, and
Exactly.
it's not fixed.
So it's not as if, if I tell him to do one particular task, then it will lead to this. The formula is not yet evolved as a startup. So it requires a little bit of a different mindset. Yeah, so that's what we kind of look for. And yeah, of course, especially when there is a customer touch points, we expect the communications to be excellent. That is important for us.
Okay. Is there any other highlights which I haven't mentioned but you want to share a little bit about?
If we look at our growth trajectory of vBouquet, it's not grown phenomenally. It's if we look at the time frame of August, and so it's not that phenomenal. So what we have done during this phase is we have kind of focused more into the product.
Yeah, more into development.
More into development,
Yeah.
more into ensuring how product is there to scale and things like that.
And the back-end technology which supports your product.
Right. So that is where we have focused. And but then we also wanted to reach out the market earlier. So that's where we said that even with the bare minimum, let's go ahead. So that is what we have done. And and now we are in the process of especially in terms of reaching out and marketing. Even from hiring, we are looking for some people, exciting people who have committed to join us and drive this whole journey all together in a different, much more bigger directions.
Means like right now the product is ready. You were spending the first year more on product development.
Right.
It is launched in the market, but now that everything is ready, you need a bigger push
Right.
so that more people will adopt.
Yes, and also we have raised some level of funds from our close and near ones, which will help us in pushing in that direction and reach a milestone that we have in our mind. So once the milestone is reached, then subsequently we feel that our value proposition and in terms of metrics and so on will be much more rounded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know this is just the start of your journey in terms of your company, but what would you say has been your most challenging point, and what has been your most positive point wherein you felt that, yes, I did the right thing, leaving my job and pursuing what I always wanted to do?
I would say it's for me it's definitely much more because as I said it is always there in the back of my mind on how do I impact more and more people. So when I did this and we started this and started impacting a lot more people, we started using it, and the technology, the code and the product that we're making is starting. We could see real contributions, which is not the case if you are working in a in a corporate wherein you do work a lot, but you are not able to see relate to the actual user who are consumers who are consuming your software. So yeah, so for me it's that was a very you can say maybe a factor which kind of keep me motivated and keep me going every day. And yeah, so we are also kind of passionate about doing the right kind of product We are passionate about what is the font that we use on our. So we are also a lot focused on the UI presentation and things like that. So in the whole, we have learned a lot of things during this journey. So which is what has been exciting. And we have met quite a lot of different people, which we would not have met if we were working in a corporate kind of a setup. So a variety of people. So every day, there is some guy who is always talking about new opportunities, and it may not make sense for me right now, but then because of this platform, so much variety of people that we are meeting. Then the challenge in this journey has been during the initial phase. The startup is going to not make money, right?
Yeah.
So there will not be a constant flow of money. So one has to be mentally, financially be prepared for
Running without any incoming cash flow.
Yeah, incoming cash flow for a period of time. So how to manage that will be also very crucial for how is your survivability for the startup. If we do not have that, then a startup may be performing excellently well for the first 1 year, but then it runs out of cash, it runs out of money. Then, however growth, they have achieved, and due to some reason, if the funding or something doesn't happen, then the startup is going to close. So the challenge is in terms of how do you manage your personal lifestyle, personal various expectations in order to sustain this the startup. And in terms of other things like operationally, hiring is a continuous process to find the right persons and so on. So that has always been a challenge.
So on a lighter note, beyond your innovation and your work in building your company, what do you do for fun?
Fun, I have 2 pets. One is a cat and a dog. So most of the time we spend, and we go out for weekend once in a while for a eat out or go for a walk, things like that. Yeah, that's what we do. Maybe mostly relax at home. Yeah.
So we have initially also for VBookie, we had a phase of the VBookie contest in Finding the Voices.
Right.
And we had Angelica Yimlimbam who won the contest. It was a very difficult choice because we got a lot of very good photographs. With your experience and interaction with Finding the Voices, just wanted to get some feedback, comments about Finding the Voices.
Yeah, I would say that the work done by Finding the Voices is really good. It has highlighted a lot of positive things that is happening in the society, especially in Manipur. If you look at Manipur, a lot of media coverage that happens is about something negative, something
about the conflict,
or about the bomb blast, or about some people burning somebody's houses. But we as a media, I think Finding the Voices has actually made the voice of some of the a lot of people are there who are doing a lot of good work, which is positive. So that is being highlighted. So I would say that it's an excellent work, and this is going to inspire a lot more people to do good things and impact more and more people. So I would say Finding the Voices has done over a period of time found a lot of good positive voices and make those voices more visible around the world. So yeah, that's a very good work.
Thank you. And we hope to find more voices like yours. We are so proud of you coming from Manipur, starting your own company in Bangalore. And we wish you all the luck in your growth for your company. Thank you.
Thank you very much.